Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's Kofi. I'm back with another episode of the WhyNotI podcast, the WODCAST, and today we've got a super special guest with me. It's big time, but now she's super inspirational, and we haven't known each other for long, but like, you know, when that connection's there with someone who's got the same mindset and it's just about helping people and being a person of influence, Miss Sophie Lee. So
Hi guys, thank you so much for having me on. Thank you so much for giving me your time to share the message and also speak about things that I think really need to be heard. So I'm excited to be here.
100%. Like, thank you so much for coming on here, man. Definitely. So, for people that don't know, who is Sophie Lee?
Do you know what? It's so weird because I feel like I've gone through so many eras of Sophie Lee.
And that's good though, evolution, isn't it?
Yeah, like my journey's been so hectic, and so I'm originally a professional dancer and fighter performer. And when I was performing at a charity event one time in 2018, I was involved in a freak accident, which left me with my life turned upside down completely, like overnight. And I became a case study, medical science, we're going to get into it, but on the short, you know, I became a case study, and I adapted a big part of responsibility that I never expected to take on that role. And now, because of my journey and my mental health battle, everything like that, I now am a motivational speaker, public speaker, and I mentor like young people and just help anyone who's gone through trauma, just see that there's more and there's more coming into their life. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
Definitely, I can dig it. So let's get into your background. So where were you from? Where were you born? Because obviously we can hear the strong Manny accent and love it. But like, I think it's super important to understand where someone is and where they're going, to understand like where they're from. Do you know what I mean?
Of course.
So like, what's your like background? What was your upbringing like?
So I've had it's been mad, you know, because I feel like I've done everything and anything in life. Like I've had the opportunity to travel, and I speak a second language and like my culture and everything. So I'm British born Chinese, so I was born here, and then when I was a few months old, my parents took me back to China, where my grandparents lived, and they raised me until I was 4. So then I came back to England, and then I started obviously my education, and I've been here ever since. But every year we go back to China. My parents never let me forget, you know, that's where you're from, they're your roots, you know, and like we don't come from wealthy privilege, and my parents never let me forget that. Like we've had to work to be here. Over time, I'm sure this is something you can relate to as well. You know, I think when you're born of a different heritage but you're British, you feel like, where is my sense of belonging? Like I go home and I'm not eating the same food that like per se white people are eating. Like I'm not speaking English all the time. My family want me to speak Chinese, and like I had a real big identity crisis at a young age. I was very like, I don't know where I fit in. If I go to China, I'm not Chinese enough. I'm westernized, you know. When I come back there, I'm the white girl, you know. And then when I'm here in England, I'm the Chinese girl. So I had a really tough time growing up, and that's where I like dance became kind of my escape. As yourself with basketball, you know, you threw yourself into a sport that you just could escape your whole like the outside world with, right? And when you're on the court, like say with me, when I was on the dance floor, you're in your whole like different bubble, different vibe, whole like element of you is just you pour your heart and soul into something you are passionate about. And I think that was a lot for a long time, a lot of my life, where like I took my mental health to. Like I didn't see counsellors when I was younger or anything like that. It was just when I danced, I felt such a relief, and that was my therapy.
You're like, I'm a dancer, I'm not Chinese, I'm not British, I'm not this.
I'm just Sophie Lee, the performer, like that is my passion. You know, when you play ball, you pour your heart and soul into that game. And when I danced, I pour my heart and soul into that. And it was like that moment is the true essence of me. away from any racism, away from any mental health issues, away from any adversity that the world was putting on my shoulders, you know? Like, it took me to just me being authentically me.
Yeah.
So I think I've grown into a lot of different parts of my life, and then when I was like a bit older, I went to dance college. I was the youngest to go, so I've always been quite like kind of by myself.
How did you get into dance to begin with?
My grandma, like my grandma.
Back in China?
Yeah, China.
Okay.
So she took me to Chinese operas. Like, my grandma was taking me to Chinese theatre, Chinese opera. She'd always like be on the karaoke. She was the life and soul of the party. Like, she's a very big part of my growth, and me as a woman, I take so much inspiration from who she was and what she stood for. You know, she was a very strong woman who had a lot of respect from a lot of people. And within Chinese culture, women, we don't really get much respect. We have to earn it.
Yeah.
It's very much, you know, a culture of women are kind of seen and not heard. And it's only within the past few years where women are coming to power, especially with money, finance. So yeah, she's always taught me to be strong. She's always taught me that you're different, you're unique. It's amazing, you know, to embrace that part of yourself. So when I came back to England, you know, I was hit me like a ton of bricks. First thing was, you're Chinese, you're different, you're this. I went to a Church of England school, a village.
Did you not realise that you was Chinese when you was in China? Did you just feel like, I'm just Sophie, I'm just a person? Did you realise
like,
you was even a possibility of being different once you got here?
I don't think when you're younger, you realise you're different. Does
No.
that make sense?
Even if you're different races, that's another child.
Exactly that. And I've always thought racism is taught, because I don't ever remember being taught that that person's white, that person's brown, that person's Chinese, that person's whatever culture. It was just, we're all here to learn, we're all here to have a good time. And that's that.
Yeah.
So when I came back, it hit me. Like, I was about 4 or 5, it started to be like, I don't look the same. I don't even look the same. And then my first real run-in with like racism was like when I was 8. So I had this group of friends. We used to all swap cardigans, swap pencils, whatever. When you were in school, that's what you did. One day, they didn't want to do that anymore. And I was like, why don't you want to be near me? Why don't you want to play with me? Why don't you want to, you know, like interact? Didn't want to touch me. It was because I had chinky germs. I was Chinese. I had germs, and that wasn't good, because if you touch me, you're gonna be ill. You're gonna be sick.
That just came out of nowhere.
Nowhere. To the point where, like, at lunchtime, my friend literally said, "We're not sitting next to you because you've got chinky germs. We don't want germs." And I told my mum this because I thought I was ill. I thought I was sick. I thought I was like
actually had.
I need to go doctors because I'm not well.
Yeah.
And my mum literally was like, because when you're a child, children don't really lie. Like, when they're upset, you just say it how it is, right? And I was so just like distraught. I'd lost all my friends. No one wants to be near me. At this point, they were really influential within the class.
Okay.
So I was the only Chinese person within the whole school.
Yeah.
So obviously,
it's gonna spread now.
Yeah, one kid saying she's got germs because she didn't look like us.
Yeah.
And I don't have someone to back me. Do you know what I mean? I don't have another Chinese person be like, yo, listen, what do you mean she's not the same?
Yeah.
She's out here like,
yeah.
You know, we're together. And it wasn't like that. I had no one to back me. So it was tough. My mum, she went into school. She told it how it was. She spoke to the head teacher. Yeah, she told the head teachers. She made sure she spoke down she got a meeting with the parents and the children, and we all sat down, and she had to explain what racism was
to them.
Yeah. And
so did the parents think everything was just whatever?
Yeah, they were thinking it wasn't gonna be a thing.
Yeah.
No, my mum handled it.
It's a thing.
Yeah, it's a thing. If you're gonna make it a thing, we make it a thing.
And I'm nipping it in the bud early.
Yeah. So you know, like I know, you know. Let's all know.
Yeah.
You know, like if you're gonna treat my daughter like this, then we're all gonna learn today.
Yeah. I have no issue with that.
Because I'm not. Some parents are embarrassed. but embarrassed because you taught your child racism and you got caught out by the person you were racist to.
Yeah, and they're looking you directly in your face.
And
letting
telling
know,
you
okay,
what racism is. And that's exactly what you're doing. You know what I mean? I think that was a very prevalent moment for me in my life, because I'll never forget that moment of like, fuck, like, you're different.
Yeah.
And your whole life is going to be always faced with this. So I moved to, like, obviously my high school. I was the only person from my primary school to go to that high school. Again, I was faced with a lot of adversity. Only Chinese person, only Chinese girl. It just was a whole thing of like, I was never good enough. I was never on a team. I never played for a team. I was the dancer, so I was always in training. I was always dancing, competitions, things like that. I was never within like a I don't know, like a women's team or like tennis team. Like, I didn't do netball, badminton, anything like that. It was just, I did my own thing.
Yeah.
But I think that was because of the previous trauma.
Did you not want to do it, or did you find refuge and safety and identity in your dance?
You hit that on like the head. Like, when I stepped into the dance studio and I was with the people that I knew, and I was respected because I trained my ass off. Like, I trained hard, you know, and I got to a level where I was at the peak, and you know, I danced to the point where I was not giving up, and I got the respect from people, and I never had that, you know. And
so why would you want to be elsewhere? I want to be where I'm respected, loved, and valued.
Exactly that. And it was a place where I could learn. It was a place where I wasn't judged. It was a place of, you know, whatever you bring to the table and what skill you bring.
That's what it is.
Not what you look like, not how old you are, whatever, none of that. And that was where I found a lot of like my safety, because I belong there, right? And then when I went to dance college, again, I moved from high school to dance college. I was 15, youngest to get into dance college. Everyone that went there kind of treated it like a uni. So everyone was like 18, 19. So they had like a social life, right? So they could go out drinking. I couldn't do any of that. So again, I was segregated.
So how did you go from year 10, year 11 to dance college? Because obviously over here, college is like right after year 10, 11. But for where you're at now, they're like uni age?
So yes, it was like a private college.
Okay.
So you had to pay, it wasn't funded, you had to pay for it. So a lot of these would go to normal college, do like, you know, their courses, whatever, and then audition to go to actual dance college.
Okay.
Whereas I just skipped the whole educational system. I went straight to dance college. Like, I have a handful of GCSEs. So if I was to get a real job, a job in the real world now, on paper, I wouldn't get a job.
Which is mad. But you doubled down on yourself, and that's what you needed to do. So what was your experience like being one of the youngest at dance college? You also understand the magnitude of it, but you've also been working for this.
I went on the day of my German GCSE exam.
Mad.
So if I didn't get, and it was my only choice. It was the only choice of college that I wanted to go to.
Double down.
Yeah, I didn't put any other choice down. No, nothing. Never been. It's always been straight road. And the day that I got my letter, I gave it to my coach to open. I didn't even open the letter. I was like, this is going to be the most embarrassing part of my life if I don't get in. If I do get in, it's going to be the best moment ever. It was a risk I was ready to take though, because I was like, I believed in myself. I was like, no, I'm good enough. I'm getting in.
Because you know the work that you put in now?
Yeah. Like, I used to be literally in training 7 days a week. Sunday was comp day. Sunday's always game day or comp day, right? So I've been training 7 days a week up to then.
What would a typical day be like for you when you was like on the grind, when you were in like secondary school? Like,
there's been times where it was running up to competition day, and it'd be like an international competition, so we travel and whatever not. And the training would get intense. I'd be up at 5 a.m, going to training, then going to school, and then going back to training, and then in between that trying to get my work done, trying to get this done. And I was a bit of I wouldn't say I was a bad kid in school, it's just my heart wasn't into school. I'm not an academic person. I'm a very physical, active person, and I just didn't have any love for like someone telling me this is this, this is this, this is this. Like I just couldn't learn. So to them, I was always a bit of a nuisance or someone that they just brushed to the side. Yeah. Because they thought, what was my point?
Same.
Right?
But I actually liked school, but it was more so he's not naughty, but he is because he's cheeky. But he's an issue. He's an issue, but then it's.
But then I won a lot of big trophies, and I was successful in what I like doing. Is that it? Do you know what I mean? It's so weird because, on one hand, you're a problem. So do you know what I mean? You're a problem to the school system
because you're disruptive.
You're
not going with the natural flow.
I wasn't disrespectful. I was just like a vibe. I was a vibe. But to the teachers, I was an issue. Like you're a problem.
Yeah, because now other kids are looking.
Yeah, and then
it can be a little leeway of influence, and so it just messes up the whole ecosystem. But
on the other hand, you're really good at what you're passionate about. So we can't scold you for that because you're good at what you're doing, and it shows you are committed and you can do stuff when you put your head down to it.
So you just don't want to do this.
Yeah, like I'm not learning about Pythagoras theorem, like A squared, B squared. Like I don't get it. Like I'm not doing that. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But tell me to get a dance routine, I'll come out on top.
But that shows like your grind determination. I think with society now it's tough because trying to force everyone into a certain mold doesn't really work.
No.
Because like
pushes just go the other way.
Yeah. And then but a lot of great people have come from that.
I always think that. I think the best people are always crazy.
100%. I'm wild as well.
Yeah.
So you've gone to dance college and how was dance college? You're doing well and like you progressed.
No.
You wasn't doing well.
No.
But as we know, you end up.
I got checked.
Of course, we all get checked though.
I got checked.
We all get checked at our dream, and it's like, do I really?
When you're actually in the game with the people that are the best.
Oh yeah.
You're then like.
Oh. Wow.
Wow. Because when you're at your own little like say basketball club, dance club,
you're
the best there because everyone's just there for a hobby. You're there for a career.
Big fish, small pond.
Yeah.
Then when you're little
with
fish,
the big leagues,
pond,
you get checked first.
That's when you find out. That's where I think you find out if you've got what it takes.
Really
not because you perform better than everyone, but you've now got to a stage where you're like, I'm not the best here, and the only way I'm even going to keep up is work.
Do you know what?
And love.
That is, I think, is the best way to drop the ego.
Oh, it gets removed whether you like it or not. It
challenges your ego there and then.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
It was good. Necessary. Let's just say necessary.
Was it?
Yeah,
it was character building.
That's why I say it's necessary, because if you really want to climb to where you say you want to climb, you have to go through big fish, little pond, little fish, big pond. You're gonna have to keep going, keep growing, and I think that's necessary to climb to the top. Because the only way to get better is to be around people who are better than you.
This is right. So this is what I took out from that. When I left to go into the real world, so graduated from dance college. That's the real world, you know. Like
it's big, isn't it?
Yeah. But I'm glad because I lived at kind of dance college 3 days a week. So I moved out when I was like 16. So I've always been a curious person. I've always been very independent. I've always been very I always have to have my own stuff going on and not rely on my mum and dad.
I feel you.
Right? So when I went out in the real world, I got 3 jobs. 3 jobs straight away. I was like, I need money, I need 3 jobs, I need to be working all hours of the day so I can earn money from the mundane job of walking up and down Market Street in Manchester with a clipboard asking people for their phone number and email address.
It's a busy street, that as well.
It's a lot going on there, you know.
It's mad to have a busy street and nobody still wants to talk to.
Swerve me. I've never been so pied in my life. Literally.
But it teaches you something different because
I'm gonna still get these numbers.
I'm gonna keep going.
I'm gonna still ask you.
You know what I mean?
Email address is.
4 down, get back up again.
Yeah.
You ain't got a choice.
Well, this is it, because if I wanted if I want it to get to a certain pinnacle in my life, I need to fund that.
Mm-hmm.
And how am I going to fund that if I don't work hard? So I had to do these jobs that no one wanted to do. Like at one point I was doing that, so data collection, Market Street. Then I'd be a sampler. So that means I would go into Tesco's, Morrison's, stores, whatever. I even worked for Greg one time. I'd give people samples. That was me stood there all day. I was stood there. How would you like a sample? How would you like to try this? How would you like to try that? Like, I was training.
The funny thing about that is, yeah, like I've done jobs like that too, and at first the whole anxiety of doing that.
Yeah.
After a while of doing it, you're not arsed.
It's just like, do you want to take it or not?
Yeah, but the thing is, you know, the whole thought of that type of job. Once that's gone, it removes the ego too, and you're like, it's a job, bro.
Yeah.
I do it and I leave.
Yeah.
I don't care
Because
what it
then
is.
after then, when I earned enough money, then I went into like the kind of night scene business where I could just kind of do less hours, which weren't as like. I say they're a bit of a punch to the ego. Having to go up to people and get turned down is like a punch to the ego every time. And I was like, I can't keep doing this. This is like breaking my character. This is like breaking my soul. Every day I'm waking up and people don't want to speak to me.
Which is wild. You're all up in their face. The worst thing is when.
As soon as you see that clipboard.
Yeah, the worst thing is when they're coming and they keep eye contact and you're like, I ain't even got to you yet.
But I know where you're going.
But I hear you.
I know, yeah.
Detour. You're
yeah.
Like, alright, safe.
Yeah.
No problem.
But the worst is you still keep eye contact.
Yeah,
like, I know you.
Yeah. Like, they look at the eyes say, don't.
Yeah. I used to make up phone numbers, you know.
Yeah, like, you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes.
Just to make the numbers up.
Yeah.
And then we did like leafleting on Market Street, and I used to have to just like give one person 3 leaflets to get rid of them. I was like, get rid of these.
I've done some in bins before, like I've had
Yeah.
to. But you know what though? Doing stuff like that is character building because like now you can talk to anyone.
Well, yeah,
I can talk
it's
to
humbled me
anyone.
because I would, even if, like now, I'll get into this, but like there's been times in my life where you'll see I've got a big following, but I was penniless. So.
Like, it means what?
It means nothing. Like, status means nothing. But as long as you have that drive within you and to humble yourself enough to know that you gotta work hard for yourself. And it doesn't matter what anyone says. A job is a job, and I'll always respect that role. So this is why I'm saying I've done every job kind of you can really imagine, that from ground up to this. Even in retail, I used to like stack shelves with like shoes and like clothes and things like that, and have to clean after people all the time that just treat you like
the worst
shit.
is folding clothes and then seeing someone come in and you're looking at them like, I know you're not interested in that. They look at it and then they do the whole, put it down.
It's the the disrespect.
I just folded that, bro. And the thing is, you didn't need to touch it because you know you didn't want it and you weren't interested. Now, can you go fold that, please? Yep, I can. But like character building, so I respect people who are willing to do what it takes. Like, it doesn't matter what. Like, respecting the grind is respecting the grind.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I think that's a great trait to have in people, and I think that also comes from.
Family, you know.
Yeah, family, your dance background, hard work, hustling.
I'm used to having a very like regimented regime. Like, as in when I was in training, I was taught, if you want to be the best, so you've got to train like the best. You've got to train like you already know you're the best.
Facts.
Like, that is the mentality I have. I'm a very competitive person. I'm a very open-minded person. Like, I'll never think that I'm too good that I can't learn. Expansion of the mind is what will put you on that stepping stone of elevation. Facts. Every single time. But your ego will pull you down.
You don't know what you don't know, and I think it's beautiful. Like, even me with like learning to run a business and stuff.
It's amazing.
There's so much stuff I don't know, but I'm learning more, and the more that I learn, the more I realise that I don't know.
I would say now my failures are really what I should thank myself for.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really thank myself for the times when I'm like, did amazing.
Yeah.
Because I thank myself for the times I got up and got out of bed to get myself into training, or to get myself to that job, to get myself there.
Especially when you don't really want to go.
I hated it, man. I hated it.
The thing is, like, there's a difference of they're complaining, I don't want to go, man, I hate it. But then you know when like it gets to a point where deep down you're not even being loud about it. It's like I really don't want to go. You know when it's calm and settled like that, like you mean it. Like I don't want to do this anymore. It's not nice.
It drains you.
It's draining.
Because when you like that, you're still passionate about it. Because you still got that.
Some
you still got an emotion, yeah. But
Yeah.
when you have no feelings towards it and it's just numb.
Drained.
Like a zombie. It's the most demoralizing, like, and dehumanizing experience because you just think, what am I here for? Like, what is my purpose? But when you find that spark again, that purpose, you think,
it's like a light turns on.
Yeah.
Really, you can see it in people's eyes as well. So you're dancing, you graduated dance college, you're working, you're doing nightlife and stuff.
Yeah.
How did you get into fire?
I trained.
Being a fire
I
artist?
trained with like a lot of already trained fire artists who had been like circus training, things like that. And I did my training and made sure I was obviously did all my health safety checks.
What made you want to go from, what type of dancing did you do before that? Because I don't think it was fire dancing at college. What type of dancing did you do before?
I've done everything. So I've done like hip hop, I've done ballroom, I've done ballet, I've done tap, I've done like musical theatre, everything like that. And I think this is where my curiosity came in. I just want to learn everything. I was a stilt walker, I've done angle grinding,
Wow.
I've done fire breathing, fire dancing, like wax pouring, everything. Well, my mum would probably be like, just be less curious, please.
Yeah, facts, mum would say the same. You're wild, like, I'm just like, what? So, like, you've done all your training, you've done everything. How did your career develop in being a fire artist?
I got a job at Menagerie in Manchester. That was my first ever fire gig. And I remember going in and it was a trial shift. And she went, okay, we need someone that's different. So I got different. So I thought, what's different? All I know is, like, all I've known up to now is to train to go on cruise ships or music videos.
Yeah.
And there's a protocol to that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you go train for music videos, you've got to be R&B, you've got to be down, you've got to be very hip, do you know what I mean? And like very relevant within the time. And then if you want to train to be on a cruise ship, you've got to be very classical, clean, very like to the book of how it's always been. For me, I'm a bit of a like experimental this, now I do this, add a bit of this, sprinkle of that, maybe a bit of this.
Yeah.
So I was like, what do I go for? Classic or crazy?
Probably crazy.
You go on for classic, safe, played it safe.
Oh, is that what you did for are you trial shift?
Yeah.
Okay.
And when I came off, I was so disappointed, you know.
Why?
I wasn't myself. And do you know what? Like, it went to the end of the night and I was brewing over it. And I went to the boss, Karina. Karina is such an amazing woman. She's a very good businesswoman. And I went up to her. I kind of knew she wasn't going to hire me again. Because I knew I wouldn't hire me again.
Oh, when it's them ones, yeah, I get it.
Right? And I went, please let me come back tomorrow. You don't need to pay me. You don't need to do anything. And I want to show you me. And I went in there. I did a 5-step to Beyonce, flawless. I did like my vibe. It was like a mix of R&B like vibe, but with a classical twist. So I'm a gymnast as well.
Okay.
So I mixed that, incorporated it into it. So I did like a lot of like my dress sense was not like a costume, it was like a vibe, you know what I mean? I brought the energy, but I also incorporated a lot of things that I'd learned that were technical and like dance and background. She loved it. And I was so scared. I was petrified because I was like, this is me. And I'm scared to show her me.
That's an issue.
Yeah.
That's an
but
issue.
I knew that I had to come back and say, please just give me a second chance. You don't have to pay me. You don't have to give me anything. I just want to show you me. Because I felt like that wasn't me. That was what I thought you wanted.
So and then you ended up getting hired.
I got hired and I ended up working there 2 days a week, then turned to 3 days a week, then turned to 4 days a week.
Wow.
And then by the time of it, she was like, I want you to be the resident fire performer.
Oh, wow. So you see, with not being yourself and knowing
that ain't
It
me.
ain't me, and it's not gonna work. Then being yourself, getting hired, ended up being a resident performer. How did that make you feel about doubling down on yourself, trusting in being you, whatever that happens to
Because
be?
it's made me realise like being the underdog is actually the goal.
Oh yeah, facts.
Being the underdog, the goal, like for sure. Being the underdog, being the underdog, and being broken down that many times, to like question yourself. But then when it comes to like the time to shine, and you're your authentic self,
You put the work in.
yeah, you put the work in, and you are given the praise. It just proves to you like, wow, I'm so glad I'm different. I'm so glad I was judged for being different, because now no one can ever be me, because I don't actually, respectfully, disrespectfully, I'm never gonna be you. You're never gonna be me, and I never want to be you. But why do you want to be me? You know, like.
Yeah, facts.
And it makes you step into yourself in a way where you're no longer give a fuck what the people think, because you've proven that you're good enough. Just be yourself.
And that's a small, huge win.
Yeah.
That I think people underestimate.
It's a big part of your life. It's a core memory. Does that make sense? That like you'll always look back on.
Forever.
Yeah. Even though at the time you don't think it is, because you think I'm under stress. I'm stressed.
Yeah.
Like, what do? I'm stressed. But when you like excel and you get that inner win that's only personal to you, no one knows. Like,
no one cares.
No one cares. But for you, you've won. You've won that battle within yourself, because you've always questioned yourself deep down.
I love them ones. Like, we all have those small moments that are pivotal.
Yeah, but they don't even need to be loud. That's what makes them.
A lot of the time they're not loud.
They're not.
Do you know what I mean? But it just meant so much to you.
Yeah, it meant a lot to me.
And for your like trajectory going forwards, like it's just a beautiful thing. So you end up being a resident, and then how do you end up in Chicago?
I ended up like within Manchester. I ended up being like the main fire girl. So I was
In the city?
Yeah.
Amazing.
I was booked, always booked, 7 days a week. You know what I mean? Like a lot. And then an opportunity came around where it was a charity event for the Chinese community. And I thought, I'm not gonna pay for it. It's not gonna do anything to me than like financially. It's not that. And at that point I thought, I'm not in this for money right now.
Yeah.
It's the fact that like I can give back to my own community, and it's a chance
to be proud.
Yeah, and it's a chance to see Chicago. Like, that's sick. That's so dope. Like, it was one of my favorite cities. Like, I've always wanted to go there. I was like, yeah, I'll go. So I went. I've been thinking about this my whole life. This set, I'm gonna kill it. Gets to it. I've done all the checks, safety checks. It's all good, right? And performing gets to the finale point, and I'm blowing the fire.
What are some of the safety checks? Like,
so you've got to check that there's obviously no wind, no trajectory of like any systems that are going to blow any wind towards you. Obviously the area's clean, there's no one within a vicinity of the area. And the floor is not a slippery surface. Even your equipment needs to be checked over. I check mine like 2-3 times over. I make sure that everything down to costume, because you could set yourself on fire if your costume have a malfunction, you know. So I had to check everything, even hair, whatever, like done.
You're a professional at this point too. You've been doing this.
Yeah. And I was just like, okay, cool, we're ready. Breathing fire. I don't know what. Even to this day, I cannot pinpoint what happened, because obviously I'm in the moment, right? I didn't see it from a third person point of view, but all I know is there must have been a complication with that ventilation system that had not been checked or secured within that time, and it blew the wind back to me and set me on fire.
So once
it's out,
once you blew, so how does it work? Is it?
It's like if you were to blow a balloon.
Yeah.
Once that air comes out of your mouth, that balloon can pop.
Yeah.
And
so what do you have inside your mouth?
Paraffin.
And then you've got like, what are they called? Wands?
Fire sticks. Yeah, fire sticks. Ones, yeah.
And then, so as you're performing and dancing, you blow onto
it's
that.
Like this. Blow it out.
Yeah, and then it ends up getting blown back.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it set me on fire, because obviously I had paraffin that leaked down. So from my chest up to my face, I was in flames.
So as you're dancing and stuff, your mouth's just full
Yeah.
until like, and obviously it's going down.
No. So
as
you
you're
take a
spitting
second to just like, so I switched, so I had like fire fans and like different other instruments. So when I put something down, I could then quickly put the paraffin on and then prepare myself for the end. At this point, I'm on fire. Your girl's on fire, you know?
In front of everyone.
Yeah. It's not looking good, bro.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's not looking good.
Yeah.
But what do I do? Like, I can't panic. If I panic, everyone's gonna panic.
And everyone's kind of looking like, I don't know if that's right.
Yeah, I don't know if this is part of
it, but yeah.
I was like, for my next trick, like,
Yeah.
I had to just keep it together.
Mm-hmm.
I went into like survival mode. Your body does go into survival mode, and you are no longer really in pain at that point. You're just
shock as well.
Yeah, you're just in shock. So I'm there tapping myself down. I remember, don't rub, because you don't know what your skin's like at this point. You know, if you rub, you can rub your skin off. So I'm there patting myself down. I run off stage. All I'm hearing is gasp everywhere, like, what's going on, you know? I run off stage. These people, they put a bag of ice on me. So I got an ice burn on top of a fire burn. That's the first one. You never put ice on a burn, right? You put like a damp towel or just watered towel, like towel, water, damp towel on you, and it rubbed and it like took my skin off. So I had a really deep burn at that point. Like my body went into shock because my body's just been with fire and then it's been ice.
Yeah, it's like what?
Two ends of the spectrum, yeah. And the next thing you know, fire engines coming, police are coming, ambulance coming, the army came, because in Cook County, in Chicago, where my accident happened, the hospital is actually the main burns hospital for the US. It's where they train in the US military for burns.
Wow.
So this is why I think like, it's kind of meant for me. Like if I was in any other state,
it wouldn't have been ready.
It would have been done out here. Like they wouldn't have been able to save my face, or maybe even save my life. I don't know.
Because they're not like trained.
Yeah, or you have to act quick.
Yeah, you do.
Not every hospital is equipped.
Yeah.
You know.
Also, imagine you're not at the hospital where they're equipped, and you're still around donuts who have put ice on you.
Yeah, and like not treated right. You know, like not treated with the correct procedure. Yeah, because like with any injury, the first 10 minutes are prevalent to how your healing's gonna be. If you like you said, you had an injury, you hit. If you then go back on the court and start doing it in, you're worse.
Yeah,
right? You've got to know what to do within those first 5-10 minutes, so then you can have the best outcome later on. I went straight to hospital. At this point, it's kind of a blur. Like I don't really remember much.
And you're over there alone.
Yeah.
And how long was you in hospital for?
A month.
Alone.
Yeah, and it was hard, you know, like, because again, I think it was a big ego thing too, of like, this is my profession, how this happened to me, why me, like what? April Fool's Day is what this is.
Ironic.
Yeah. It was the first time Easter Sunday's fallen on April Fool's Day in about 50 something years. So I really believe that I kind of resurrected as a new person, and I came back a stronger and, you know, meaningful version of myself, where I could leave. One of the questions I said to myself, it's quite sad, like, but it is a thing that I had to go through to check myself. I asked myself, if I died in this moment right now, have I left legacy or anything behind that I'm proud of?
What was your answer?
No.
Why?
My ego wanted to say yes.
I bet. That's why I'm asking you why you.
But truthfully, in my heart, I'd only ever gain that success for myself, and it was only ever boost that ego more. I never actually gave anything back to help anyone. I didn't. I'm like, I'm 22 at that point. You know, it's a very cold lesson to learn. That was a tough day for me, because I had, even up to then, like, they gave me my first shower, and I got put in a wheelchair. So up to this point, I'm out. Like, I'm on a ventilator, I can't breathe, can't see. I'm a vegetable, basically. They're just keeping me alive, right? Keeping me stable. I was on fentanyl, strong. Like, wasn't with it. When I slowly started to come around, like, you need to shower and wash all this off, like the residue of the burn and things. And I was wheeled in a wheelchair. For someone that's been able-bodied,
All control's
gone, right? And I stood up and I didn't realise how swollen my face was. It was swollen because once you have a burn, your body goes into shock, and that's why you swell, because it's to cool the body down. Yeah. I had no balance. So I was like, whoa, okay. That was the big, like, reality check right now. That you're not okay.
I'm fucked.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm done right now. I'm white flagged, like, it's not good. So I got wheeled into this room, and it was like a morgue. Like, it was a metal table, which was kind of like the bathing table where they wash you. So I sat there. At this point, I'm being washed. It's the first time in my life I've ever been washed.
Your level of independence from being a child to now.
Stripped.
In a split second.
Yeah, your pride, gone.
Yeah, now you're just merely reacting to life rather than in the driver's seat.
That's exactly it. And it was so hard for me to accept. So hard, like, they were scrubbing me, and like, I was crying, you know, I was like silent crying. I was like, I didn't want them to know I was crying, but I was just like tears, and I just like said it was the water from the shower.
Yeah.
But when you see parts of your face falling off, and there's parts of skin falling off, burnt hair, and you smell it as well, and like you can just see parts of you washing down the drain.
Yeah.
But physically see it.
Yeah.
It's no longer like a part of your speech to like say that, you know, it's you've seen parts of yourself wash down the drain.
Yeah, it's not hypothetical. Like,
no, it's not. Yeah, it's real.
Yeah.
It's like I'm washing parts of the old me, and I was in mourning.
And in that moment, leading up to that, because you've done so well, and obviously a lot of us put our pride and sense of worth in how well we're doing, especially people who are successful. Now you're in crisis mode, so you're technically like, the old me clearly isn't me right now, and going forward,
you're the most vulnerable.
Am I going to be the old me? Doubtful, but I don't know what the new me is going to be. So like, how are you, like, your process of mourning yourself while you're still alive of yourself is wild. Like, because you're normally mourning other people who are gone, not you who you feel is gone. But you're gonna have to find the strength to get back up again, like in a new way.
I mourned my career, I mourned my identity, I mourned my current situation, and I mourned for Sophie Lee, who was the fire girl. You know, like, and I remember she put this warm water on my face, right? The first time water's touched this burn. It wasn't even hot, because I could feel it on parts of me that weren't burnt, and it was just warm water. It was like acid. It was like acid, and she was like, I'm gonna have to scrub it, because we have to scrub all the burn off. Oh my goodness, I cannot even tell you the pain. It is like heart-wrenching pain. And she's there scrubbing it, and parts of me's falling off, and I'm feeling this pain. It's like, like parts of me being ripped from me, you know? And I had to do that every day, because every day you have to shower, every day you've got to scrub it so it heals flat. Oh my God, I'll never forget that. Like, that pain is something I would not wish on anyone. So after the shower, I'm getting wheeled back into my room. I walk past the mirror in the room.
You look.
Yeah. And I don't even know now if it was the best or worst decision. Because after then, that's when the tears and the like vocal pain came. I was crying. And I was like, get that mirrors down, like take everything down. I can't be in this room with mirrors, like I cannot. It was horrible. Because from someone that's only ever looked into a mirror to be like, do I look good?
Yeah.
Or I'm looking alright, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially because I've really struggled with my identity, my race, my
And
everything.
You finally had it rolling.
Yeah.
Finally had it rolling.
And then this was someone I didn't even know who was in the mirror looking back at me. Who is that person? Who's that girl? She's burnt. She's raw, like bleeding.
Do you think? Because when you say you looked in the mirror and haven't realised someone looking back at you, I've had that, and it wasn't more so a physical way where I looked in the mirror and didn't really recognise who was looking back. That was tough. Obviously, I look at some of my scars from my hip surgeries, and I'm like, now I look at it and I'm like, that is what made you next level of growth.
At that point, I don't think I did, because I
It
was still.
takes time.
My ego is still at the forefront. My ego was the only thing I was riding on.
Yeah.
At that point, because my ego is my sword and shield between my own
Safety?
reality.
Yeah.
My ego is the only thing fighting my corner against my own reality, because I didn't want my reality to be me, because I couldn't accept it at that point.
You had two versions of
me.
not realizing what's looking back. You had the inner you looking at you in the mirror and you not understanding because it's about to be a new you.
Because behind these eyes, I'm still living in Sophie Lee world where it's like, I'm gonna wake up, it's not even gonna happen. This isn't real. It's not real right now. But then the mirror looking back at me, that is you.
Yeah. And it's about to be you.
Yeah. That was like, wow. I got checked fast of like, all that shit don't matter. Like, it doesn't matter.
When did you get to that point? When did you get to that point?
Had a few pity parties, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
To get to there.
I bet. Because we talk about growth. Like,
it's not pretty.
When we talk about growth in hindsight, it's like, yeah, man, I went to the bottom of the mountain, and I came, I climbed, but you see, when you're actually in it, you don't actually know.
Help me.
Yeah, like, help me. You don't know how high the mountain is. You don't feel like you're making any progress.
You're going off instinct, aren't you? Yeah. What you believe in.
And progress is like this. So when did you get to that stage, that moment of...
I need to turn this around.
Yeah. Internally though, not.
So I went through a very my mental health just was on its ass at this point. Like, I didn't want to be here, do you know what I mean? I was just, everyone leave me alone. Everyone leave me alone, just don't want to be here. Also, quick little things. My hospital room was directly across from the Bull Stadium. And every game day, there was loads of people going to the stadium. I was like, that needs to be me.
Yeah, I was gonna go watch that.
Why am I here? Like, it was torture. I couldn't go outside.
Yeah.
I couldn't do anything. My friend tried to send me flowers. Couldn't have anything because you're a high risk case of infection because it's an open wound. So I just was in isolation for a month. So my mental health was finished. They sent me a priest because I just didn't want to be here. Me and this priest were... I'm not fucking speaking to you. What am I speaking to you for? Priest just sat there. Bless his soul. Like, he literally sat there, like, gave me so much kind of time. The first interaction we had was like, okay, so it kind of made me realise he's not going anywhere, is he? So I might as well speak to him.
Yeah. I've had a couple counsellors like that.
And they're sending me for a reason because I didn't want to be here. You know what I mean? Very suicidal. I'm not in the right frame of mind.
Yeah.
But bless him, this guy did not give up on me.
Yeah.
And he said, Sophie, I'm not here to push the word of God onto you. I'm only here to remind you of your light. And the light is always within you. And it's down to you how bright you want to shine. But the day you step out into that light will be the best day of your life. Oh my God, I can't forget that. Like, it gets me emotional.
How did you receive that? Because you're currently in fuck everything mode. But when you said that, did your ego let it in? Or did
I didn't trust it.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Like, and he just left. At that point, he knew he'd done his job. because I was speechless.
Let it marinate now.
Yeah. He didn't sit there and be like, so let's talk about it. It was not. He didn't want to like round me up or anything. He didn't want to poke the bear. You know what I mean? Just up and left, really gracefully. Up, left. That impacted me more than me screaming and shouting with the nurses and crying and blah, 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 because it was a moment of solemn silence of like, it really is me against me, and the only person I'm fighting is myself right now up to this point. All these tantrums, all these pitying myself, I'm fighting against myself. I'm fighting against my own reality. I'm fighting against what I've been given in life. Can't change it. But my stubborn ego was like, I'm gonna change it. I'm not accepting this. This is not defeat. This is not this. He reminded me of who I am.
Did you feel like you knew who you was before that though? Now that he said this to you, you thought you do you.
Do you know what I think that was? I think that was what I thought the blueprint of life was to success. To be accepted, to be good at your job, and to earn money. I thought that was the blueprint of life. And because I achieved those things, I neglected who the blueprint of Sophie Lee is. I didn't know who I was off stage. I was just always living in Sophie Lee. It's like you on and off the court, right? You have a persona you bring to the court, but then you even said to me, when you're off the court, you just let things be. Whereas when you're on the court, you're so passionate, you're gonna fight for what you think is right, you're gonna, you're not going down that fight, you're going there to win. Whereas in life, you're like, you know what, you do you, I'm still doing me. Yeah, so that was exactly it. Whereas I hadn't found that piece.
So that probably what he said probably seeped through as time went on.
More and more.
As them words are seeping through as time's going on, just because mentally you're healing doesn't necessarily mean physically you're healing at the same rate.
Yeah.
So how was it trying to marry the two? Because
do you know at that point was just more of a self-acceptance situation. I feel like I've gone through different eras, so I've had 2 more operations after that point. So I've been it, that wasn't even the worst part. The worst part was when I came back to England. So I've gone through very much different eras of dealing with different parts of the trauma. So one era of me dealt with the emotional trauma. One part of me dealt with the physical trauma. And at that point, I wasn't thinking about mental health. And then now, when I look kind of normal again, we went into lockdown. My mental health went
straight.
Yeah, it's like everything I've learned gone. Because the physical trauma when I was concentrating was kind of a distraction to actually my mental health issues, because at that point I was just focused on getting myself right, and I was on medication that was just put me out for days. So when I came home, well, actually the first day I could be let out of hospital, and Mum came to pick me up. We went to Sephora, went to downtown Chicago Sephora, and I was in bandages. Now, when you're in the hospital, it's a safety net. Everyone's in bandages. Everyone's got some part of them missing or they're a bit broken. Do you know what I mean? So we're having a day off. You know why we're here.
Yeah.
And everyone's here to. It's all love.
Yeah.
When you go out in the real world, ain't no love. There ain't no love for you there. Yeah. I remember going to the makeup section because I was like, I just want to be pretty, Mum. Like, I just want to feel pretty. She's like, we're gonna go buy some makeup. Let's buy some new makeup. And she, oh bless her, she bought me like a whole new makeup set. I got there and I was looking at this eyebrow part. And there was a group of girls, young girls. They were about 14, 15. And they were like, what happened to your face?
Straight like that.
Yeah.
Mad.
I was like, fuck. This is the beginning. This is it.
How do I navigate this now? Because if anything, this is going to be somewhat the norm.
Yeah, exactly it. Yeah.
Not the hospital life.
No, the hospital life's like, oh, Sophie, have you eaten enough today? Have you drank your juice today? Have you brushed your teeth today? Do you know what I mean? Like, come on. Yeah. That is such a little cushion, like a safety blanket. In the real world, no one gives a fuck about what you've gone through. It's just what you're going to bring to the table. Who are you? Yeah. I was back down to, I'm not a successful fire dancer anymore. I'm not someone that's got her, physical well-being right now. Like, I'm a bit of a shell of a person. I don't know who I am. That hit me. I literally was like, I need to leave. That hit me. I came home, they administered me to Wythenshawe Hospital in Manchester, which is the main burns unit for here. I was actually diagnosed wrong for like a year. They thought it was a hypertrophic scar. So I was having the wrong treatment.
For a year.
And then it started to grow because there was growth starting to grow. Yeah, it was bad. To be fair, between like that time, I didn't even know how the healing was gonna be. Like no clue. And then it started to growth through like bubbles, through like big bubbles of skin, and it was really painful. Like it'd be like they said having keloid scars like having epileptic shocks.
Wow.
Yeah.
On your face.
On your face, yeah. So I had no answers. Nothing for me.
Was there other people who, because obviously when you get hurt or have serious, something like that, like when I injured my hip, I'm on the internet looking at who else has had something similar, but I'm trying to just do research to know. Did you have anything to look up to even be similar, or?
Party of one.
Mad. How do you manage that though?
Exactly.
Because mentally, the experts who are supposed to be helping you, they probably don't even really know you're a case study for them. But
that's when I became a case study.
You want help
though. I want answers.
Now.
I want answers and I want to know now.
What's going on?
Yeah.
How was that mentally? Because now you low-key feel helpless because you just merely reacted.
It was literally like I was being passed from him to this, to them, to this, especially because a lot of like my skin colour had to do with it, my race had to do with it. Keloid scarring is very angry on like pigmented skin. So like you can get keloid scarring from a piercing or anything like that, or a tattoo or whatever.
A lot of black people, we get it as well.
Yeah. But they'd never seen it on your face before. And where your neck is, your main arteries, how are we going to operate there without slicing her neck off?
Jeez.
Alright? And you can't just cut a keloid scar off because it's a tumour, it will grow back. It can grow back 50% worse. So more than what it was.
Instead of them wanting to act fast when they get an idea, it's no, we need to do it right because it could make it so much worse than it already is.
Yeah.
But it's already trying to get worse.
It was basically a race against time, but also a race against like anything they've ever learned.
Yeah, and we want to keep you alive.
Yeah. Like how do we do that? How do we give her the best kind of outcome right now when no one has any answers? Everyone's kind of like what's going on? They spoke to so many surgeons around the world, so obviously I had to speak to Chinese surgeons, people like that, and people who are of my skin colour, you know, and of my race, because ultimately it is down to your race now.
Yeah, it is.
How your body's going to react.
Which is funny because it's kind of like you've come full circle
again.
all the way back to you're not normal.
Yeah, because I can't have the
different.
same treatment as everyone else.
Yeah.
I have to have this, I can't have that. My skin might react, or it might make it worse. So a year passed, and then they actually put me forward to a skin specialist, and I then met my surgeon now, who is called Charlotte Defty. She's amazing woman. And
Charlotte.
yeah, Charlotte, she did amazing. She's one of the only people in the UK that can perform this surgery.
Amazing.
And the inventor of cryosurgery from Israel actually got in contact with Charlotte, and he flew over to England twice to perform this surgery. So every time they performed it with the inventor of it.
Wow.
And you know what? The risks were like, you might not make it. You know, this might not be good. We don't know what the outcome is. So you've got to make that choice. You're a case study, and we know that it's going to get worse with growth, but also we don't know if it will get worse with surgery.
You're in a rock and a hard place now. What made you want to do it knowing that they're the odds?
Backed in a corner.
You gonna fight back or?
Oh, this is it. Like, that's when I decided to actually share my story online. It's the first time I'd ever like shown my face after the burn, and everyone was like, "So this is what you've been going through? Wow!" Like, and you know what? Because of the response from so many people around the world that came.
Positive.
Yeah, at that point it was positive. It was like, I can't believe this, you're so strong, da da da. That is ultimately what helped me make the decision. Because I was like, even if I don't make it and I die, at least I've left the legacy that I put my life. I did something for someone else for once.
They've got research now.
Yeah, not for me. That decision was not for me. That decision was for the better of other people after me if they were to get this surgery. And it's the first time in my life I made a decision that was not for Sophie Lee.
Amazing. And that's where, because you said to me the other day, that's when Sophie Lee started.
Yeah. Because then I found my purpose. I found my home within my life. Was that feeling of being able to help someone without putting myself first is a feeling that you can't ever buy or you can't get. You can't train. No matter how much training you get, you can't train to be a good person. It just, if it feels good and you've done good, that's when you find inner peace.
It's a beautiful thing finding your purpose, you know. It's hard helping others try and do that. You can guide them a little bit, but I think it kind of,
it's a self thing, isn't it?
it's a self thing.
And it's a thing what you only find when you have nothing.
But a lot of the time you don't want to go down into the dungeons of having nothing to find out.
It's hard.
It's a horrible place to be.
Horrible. Horrible. You literally have to have nothing to realise you have everything. Like, you have to have nothing, including your health. People say, I have nothing, like money-wise, this, that, and that, but, you know, I'm not obviously saying that's someone else's trauma is not as bad, but the solution to that is to go and get a job so that you can save money and go back to that, you know.
Yeah.
But when you don't have your health, you ain't got shit.
Sometimes there's no solution for what you need, and then that's when you're actually helpless.
That's it. That was exactly me. I was like this, and when you've got people flashing the torches at you, going, so what are you denying then?
Like,
that was how it felt. It felt like I was like not interrogated, but I was very like.
People want to know. Like,
yeah.
Because time is also of the essence.
Yeah.
And now you got time in the universe kind of on your back. When you're like, yo, can I just get a moment? You don't have a moment, so you need to check in with yourself.
This is the moment. You're not being given the moment because this is the moment. So stop asking for a different moment.
This is your moment.
Yeah, that was me. It was like I just wish anything else, but it was like, no, this is what you're getting.
This is what you needed.
Really, yeah.
Which is mad. So obviously the people that follow you on socials and stuff, they see you're like, I would say you're more a person of influence rather than an influencer.
Thank you.
And it's, as we've discussed before, there's two different things.
Right.
They're two different things. An influencer and a person of influence, two different things. So you're quite big on socials, like very big. What was that journey like for you now? Because you've gone from, I don't even want to talk about the pre-accident because that's
It's a whole
not this
different
Sophie
era.
Lee.
No.
This Sophie Lee had to deal with not wanting mirrors in the room, to not wanting to go outside, to having to deal with having to decide if she wants to like go
Live.
down this route of like trying to save my life and it helping others, to now putting her story online and being
out
a person, and helping people. How do you find it influencing and being a person of influence now?
I don't see that as like kind of a step into that role. It's just to be. It's like when you want to be an influencer, like your target is a sale, right? So you're putting a dress on with the intent of selling something. When you want to help someone, that's why I don't put myself with a job title, because I just want to help. Does that make sense? Like when I wake up, I'm not like, my job today is to sell something.
Yeah, what can I do that's gonna get?
Yeah, it's not my job to win you over. It's just my job to tell you my truth. And it's my job to believe in my truth. Whether you believe in it or not, that's a you problem. But I'm gonna speak my truth. I'm gonna speak it with chest.
Facts.
And I'll never apologize for that. Whereas I used to apologize for wanting to be me. That's why when I first auditioned, I was someone else.
Yeah.
And now it's like, no, I go online with intent to be truly and authentically myself. Whether that be the most rawest parts of my journey. Like I documented my journey and made a documentary and took a videographer right up to my surgery, right up to the surgery, getting wheeled into hospital.
Amazing.
And even out of surgery. So I put that out there knowing that that's the rawest part of my life, man. Like that is the most vulnerable part of my life I've ever been in. But if it can help one person, I can pass away in peace.
Helping one person's important. Like
Yeah.
people always try and think how can I help the masses, but it's like
No.
if you can help one person, you've made a difference.
Yeah.
Because you also don't realise who that one person might help, and now it's a snowball
So
effect.
that was me. I was like, I want to change the world. It's not the whole world. I want to change one person's world. If I've changed one person's world, to me, I changed the whole world.
Because I think like what you've gone through, like you don't necessarily want everyone else to go through it,
No.
and when they're
Everyone's trauma is different, right?
For
So
real.
I don't want to project a message that's a generic message to everyone. That's why I will always take the time to, if it's one person, I'll speak to that one person and then give another person that time and then give another person my time. I won't just like, hey guys, da 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 da. It's, I can't believe you've been through that. I'd love to learn more about your journey.
Yeah.
And that's how I connect with people. My connection is through knowing someone's trauma and hardship. Because there's always space for me to learn.
Oh yeah, 100%. You're quite unapologetically yourself. Now, did you struggle to, after you being your new
Yeah.
you, did you struggle with doubling down on that again? Because you'd gone through it before, then you got humbled. Now you got to pull yourself up to be unapologetically yourself.
You've got to think, right?
In a
I'm a
new way.
young girl and I have to like talk about things that are so serious. Even though my character is a very like playful, bubbly, like not serious person.
Yeah.
But when I'm talking about things that are life and death,
Serious?
you're talking to the judge and the jury, which are your audience.
Yeah.
And they're judging you off your own experience, right?
Which is wild.
Yeah, like I get hate, so much hate, but also I get the good. And there has been times where I'm like,
Am I doing the right thing?
yeah, like am I doing the right thing? Am I a good role model? And I always think back to, I want to be the role model that I never had, that I always wanted. Because growing up, there was no Chinese girl in the public eye that was my role model. That's why I had such an identity crisis. Because I was like, am I white or am I Chinese? Or do I need to be more white? Do I need to be more Chinese? Do I need to speak Chinese or can I not speak Chinese? Because that's not white enough.
Yeah. And you had no one to ask either?
Yeah.
Because you ain't got a role model like that?
Yeah. And I look back and it's actually sad. Like, it's sad that I was such a young girl and I didn't want to be me.
But it's low-key a beautiful thing as well. Because you're aware and you're in tune with it. If you wasn't aware and wasn't in tune with it, it would be a sad thing because
I'm still living it now. Like,
you're still living it, and now there'd be another young girl going through what you've gone through who doesn't have a you though. That's what would be a sad thing. But now she's got a you.
Yeah.
So you was given that battle because you was designed to help create change with it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So
For sure.
now you're
I'm
part
breaking
of
that
the journey.
cycle.
So now, when she grows up to be like you, another little girl who's looking up to her won't feel like how you felt, and now there's 2 generations of BS that has been
Change.
cut out.
For sure.
Do you know what I mean? Someone's got to do it, so it might as
Why
well.
not
be. You know what I mean? Why not me? Like it might
Why
as
not
well.
me? I feel like, well, I'm already in a position where it's phenomenon. Like it's not happened to anyone.
Just
So
embrace.
yeah, so why not now follow that through as a legacy?
Just step it. If anything, you just got to lean into it. Just step into it.
Yeah.
It's already happening. It's just whether or not you're gonna lean into it or not.
It's like I've had waves of like survivor's guilt. Because really, I have had special treatment. You know, but I have had the like fast route, the fast ticket, because I was a case study. So my case went from down here to being irrelevant to up here, and I got special treatment. I know that, but with that treatment, I made it my duty of care and duty to educate with what I know. Not just take it for granted and be like, okay, thanks for that, bye.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't want to ever turn my back on where I'm from or what I've come from or who have helped me.
I think survivor's guilt's lame because you never asked to go through what you went through.
Yeah, but
So,
you have it. You've got that feeling in you of like, oh, I don't even want to be here.
But I think understanding that you are helping others, you are passing it on. The reason you survived, you're using that to help others and do better. Like, it's a beautiful thing, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so it's hard to tell people don't have survivor's guilt because we all feel how we feel, but understanding that you haven't just got the baton and stopped running, you started sprinting, and you're going to keep passing it on, and obviously, hopefully, other people keep passing it on too.
Yeah.
Do you know what
This
I mean?
is what I'm at now. It's like now I'm going through a phase of, okay, so I'm no longer fully dependent on, you know, surgeries and things like that, you know, but I now to the general public look normal, right? Even though they won't know the roller coaster ride. Like, say, obviously I've met you, but the next stranger I meet, they won't know my journey.
Yeah.
So I need to come with empathy and come with understanding that not everyone is gonna just warm to you because they don't know your journey, right? So I try my hardest to spread that message of like more love and more of empathy than just of this is my trauma and that's why your trauma is not relevant. It's not that. Everyone's trauma is relevant because some things that you've gone through, I may not have pulled myself through that. And there's something that I've gone through, someone may not have gone through that.
Yeah, 100%.
Right?
100%. So, you and Katie Piper, a lot of people know about her and what she went through a while ago, and obviously it was just like, wow, and she's done so well, and she's also been a part of change.
She reached out to me in hospital.
How did that feel?
I was like, it's having Michael B. Jordan message you and be like, I wish you all the best.
Like, what?
Yeah, I can't wait for you to get out of hospital and so we can like hang out.
Yeah.
I was literally like, I'm not that. Like, I'm not that. I'm just Sophie Lee, like like some shit just happened and I'm in the hospital. You know, I'm not that. Like, but when she messaged me and she reached out and made sure that I felt not alone. Oh my goodness. I was like, wow, I don't ever want to, if I can give that love to someone too and pass that baton, like you said, of love and understanding, I want to be that person. Because that's what she did for me, was she provided that bit of like reassurance that you're not alone. We may not have the same struggle, but I have understanding and time for you.
Amazing. So like, how does it feel working with someone, like being a part of like a foundation and like being a part of such positive change, because you've got such a platform, but using that platform for good and knowing what she'd been through and she's using her platform for good and now collaborating together and doing so much. Like, does it feel?
The first time I met Katie was actually when we did the ASICS 10k run in London for mental health awareness, and I ran for a charity. I was so nervous to meet her because we'd only ever had like an online romance, you know, we were talking online and we'd only ever supported each other online. So me meeting someone that I thought was iconic, like to get back up from what she'd done. She ran that day after having eye surgery. And I showed up and I was like, oh my goodness, like, you are incredible and you're like in the flesh. I can't believe that, like, it was again a humbling moment, because it was like, wow, this is not the end. There's more. There's always time to evolve. There's always time to be better. Like her, she went through so much, but yet she's always been better. And that's something that I've learned, is that you're never the best you right now. There's always more to come.
You've said some like really like powerful quotes. Tell me like the first thing that comes to mind with, I've got 3 of your quotes.
Yeah.
It says, strength in my struggle. What's the first thing that comes to mind?
The strength in my struggle, because I don't see winning as my strength. I see losing as my strength. When I'm down and I'm lost, you know, I'm lost for everything. That's when I find my inner strength. And that's the moment where I know my true power as a person, as a woman, as Sophie Lee, as me. And that's when I fully accept myself. So I really see that my strength has been my struggle, not my successes, not my, oh, you're doing this or you've done this. They're just pinnacles in my life that I appreciate.
100%. My power is my pain.
Yeah, so I just think there's there's power in your pain. Because in your pain, when you see past the feeling of pain, the emotion of pain, you dig deep, you pull something out of yourself which is powerful. You don't give up. It's like you're gonna give up and you just there's something in you, and that's your power. That's your true essence of being. And it's very rare people have those moments, and there's been very rare moments I've had those, but when they've had those, yeah.
And finally, be the role model you needed when you were younger.
I think that comes to my life every day. Every day I remind myself, come on, make the decisions based on what you would have wanted your role model to make that decision to be. And that comes with work as well. Now, I used to be like, yeah, for a check, cut this for a check, cut that for a check. What numbers are we talking?
Yeah.
Now, if that doesn't sit well with me, or I don't believe in that message, I'm not involved with it. No matter how much you pay me, no matter how much whatever. It doesn't mean anything. I'd much rather do a charity event and give back to a community that needs that help and that appreciates that help than cut a check for what? Me to sit in my room by myself.
Yeah, 100%. So, have you got any advice for young people who are struggling with their identity and their self-worth? Because it's crazy nowadays.
That's the pandemic we're living in.
Yeah, it's not even COVID anymore.
The pandemic is having imposter syndrome of not knowing who you are, because you think your online presence and your online persona is you. That's not you. That's only a snippet of who you want to be, right? No one's gonna post guys walking to get the bus. They're not posting that.
Yeah.
They're posting, I just got paid and bought 5 pairs of sneakers.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's them shooting up the bottles, party. But no one knows about the 5 a.m. wake up call, the 6 a.m. wake up call to get yourself maybe on a bus, how much money you have to save to buy your car, to get you to your job. They're your real milestones in life, and that is your true character in life. Your drive and your morals in life are your true test of character, not what you put online. And you should only see what you put online as something you want to achieve, not as a character trait.
Yeah, facts. Definitely. Well, I appreciate so much being on here, man.
Thank you for having me.
We've
been on a journey.
Yeah, oh my god. Unbelievable. But guys, if anybody wants to get in touch with Sophie, I'm gonna put her social media in her bio and stuff, but
my DMs are always open, as obviously yours probably are. My DMs are always open. I'm always open to having conversation, chatting, any advice, anything like that. All walks of life. You don't even need to have to be someone who's gone through trauma. Just someone who's struggling, someone who's, at a bit of a low point or a dark time in their life. I'm here for you.
Same. So this is the WhyNotI podcast, WODCAST. Be you, be inspirational.
Peace.
Peace out.